Well, joining us now is Canada's Secretary of State for Defence Procurement, Fuhr. Minister, thank you for making the time.
Thank you for having me.
So the week that Parliament was on break, there were a number of defence announcements made, and I want to begin with the decision that your government has made to move ahead with Canadian-made assault rifles and munitions, because ammunition production identified as an area of particular importance for Canada, identified in the defence industrial policy of your government. Why the investment of hundreds of millions of dollars in this particular area? Why is this seen as a priority for the government?
Well, I mean, it's a priority for government because it's a priority for the military. I mean, they set the requirements and they let us know what they need to do the jobs that we ask them to do. I met with the commander of the Army. I've met with him several times, but one of the first times we met, probably in the late fall, we went through all the things that they needed. Many of them are high priority, but this rifle was one of the highest priorities that he said he needed. So we went to work to see how we could expedite. I'm really, really proud of this procurement. It's a Canadian weapon. It met their requirements. It employs people in Canada. 80% of the weapons supply chain's Canadian. Colt's going to have to spool up its workforce to almost double the size that it is now. And our allies are buying it. I think there was a news release not too long ago that Denmark's buying the same weapon. So the military is getting, and we're delivering it 2 years earlier than would have otherwise been the case if we didn't get involved. So I think this is a really good example of what we can do when we put our back into it and really focus on delivering.
Okay, so it's 2 years earlier in terms of a contract, in terms of production. When will we see that kind of economic activity and employment pay off?
Well, you should be seeing it right away. I mean, those weapons will be delivered in 2027, which is not long from now, not far from now. And there's, the first tranche of weapons is 30,000 weapons. So I'm pretty certain if they're going to be delivering in 2027, they're going to be really spooling up production right now. So they're building out. They're probably going to have to expand their facility to meet the demand for the Canadian demand. Then I said there's another 50,000 for Denmark. And I'm hearing through the grapevine that there might be a couple of NATO partners that are interested as well. So again, Canadian workers making awesome Canadian products that we can, give to our own military that want them, and then supply to our allies on our export, which I think is good news.
Mm-hmm. Now, your government also announced $200 million for a launch pad, a space-capable launch pad based in Nova Scotia. This country does lean on NASA when it comes to space. It certainly has done so in the past. Does this investment mean that relationship with NASA is changing?
I think again, with our general sentiment to be more resilient and less reliant, I think this just falls into that category. Canada is very, very good in space. I didn't realize how good we were in space until I took this role. We're probably one of the best countries on the planet in space robotics. We're certainly super competent and capable in a level, space observation, communications, all sorts of space capability. Where we lack, capability is in launch. And the Europeans don't have a very good, robust launch capability either. So Canada's decided that, if we want to grow our space capability, launch is a big part of that, and that's where we figure we need to invest, not only for ourselves, but we'll be able to help others, once we build this out in a more wholesome way to make sure that we can satisfy our allies' needs as well as Canada's needs.
Mm-hmm. Now, back in November, there was a test at the Nova Scotia spaceport. It was conducted with a Dutch company to launch a hypersonic test rocket. Is that what we're going to see with this space pad? Not only Canadian, but also a European, maybe Dutch partnership to make this a success?
Yeah, I would suspect that we'll see collaboration across a wide front of different capabilities. I mean, part of that build, partner, buy program that underpins the defense industrial strategy is exactly that. So yes, we will partner with others where we can to build out capacity, again, not only just for Canada, but for our like-minded allies that share our values.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And getting back to my first question on it, though, does that mean our relationship with the United States is changing vis-a-vis space?
I guess you could look at it that way. I mean, we need to be more resilient across a wide range of areas. Space is one of those areas, so I guess that is a change. We're going to rely on the U.S. less. Doesn't mean we're not going to work with them. Of course, they're an important partner of Canada. But Canada's a sovereign country, and we've decided that in certain areas we want to have sovereign capability and sovereign capacity. Space is one of those. It's detailed in the DIS, and that's what we're moving towards.
Okay. So big announcements again last week, munitions and space being the priority announcements of last week. But I also want to talk about some upcoming decisions, some big contracts. And of course, one of them has to do with the F-35, whether or not that contract might be amended with a Gripen contract. Now, it was reported last month that your government made payments that will go towards another 14 F-35 jets, and that's in addition to the 16 jets Canada is already committed to. So does that mean, now that a payment has been made, that the debate over the Gripen is over?
No, I think it's been clear that we're going to take the time we need to make the decision that is in the best interests of Canada and Canadians and the military. I'll just reiterate a bit of what you said there. We're contractually obligated for 16 airplanes, and we have purchased long lead items for 14 more. We haven't slowed anything down, we haven't stopped anything, but we're pondering what the future looks like moving forward with our fighter capability, and when the government's ready to share that with Canadians, they'll do so. Okay,
so the very fact that more money was put down on another 14 jets, that does not necessarily mean that the Gripen debate is over?
No, we're still in analysis mode here.
Okay. I also want to talk about submarines before you and I are done today, because there is a question about whether or not Canada will go with the South Koreans or go with the German-European partnership on subs. And I know your government is looking for an industrial benefit, perhaps, for example, a German car company with a German contract, a Korean car company with a Korean contract. How important will that impact, the industrial benefit, be? Will that actually determine which country Canada will go with?
Well, without saying any particular specific benefit, we'll tilt the scale one way or the other, because the bureaucrats are going through the returns for the RFP now. So I'm not involved in that at all. It's being done behind closed doors with the bureaucracy. We made it very clear. I made it clear. The Prime Minister, everyone who's had this conversation, that both submarines met our mandatory high-level requirements. Both countries are very good allies and friends of Canada, so we could work with the countries. The military could work with the submarines, and essentially what we were looking for that will determine the outcome of this is the best economic benefit to Canada, and it was up to them to determine what that looked like. So we'll see. The other good news on this front is terms of timing. Before the defense and the DIA got involved, we were looking at contract award in 2028, subs in the water 2035. We're now looking at making a decision this year and getting a sub one way or the other in the water by 2032. So again, we're accelerating the timelines. Both those machines meet the military's high-level mandatory requirements. Both countries and both companies are really good allies and customers of Canada. So we'll see what comes out of this.
But a mixed fleet, is that an option?
Well, no, I think that was floated around. I saw that too in the paper. The Prime Minister was pretty clear a number of months ago. He's unambiguous about it, that we were looking for a single partner on this procurement.
Okay, a single partner before the year's done. Thank you for this, Stephen Fuhr. We will speak again in future.
Thank you very much.